Hi, Dr. Mack from BehaviorAdvisor.com. I'm taking a little downtime right now after finishing up a series of videos. I hope you enjoy.
Today our discussion focuses on the education of incarcerated youth in correctional facilities. I'm Ellis Borowski, Professor of Special Education and a co-director of a project which trains teachers to work with adjudicated and incarcerated youth. Today we have Tom McIntyre, Professor of Special Education and co-director of the project, and Mr. Tim Wazanti, who was a teacher, principal, and presently is the Director of Alternative Initiatives for the New York City Board of Education. Welcome, Tim. Nice to have you here. Many of our viewers are probably unfamiliar with the fact that we do have specialized programs in New York for adolescents who have gotten in trouble with the law, either by committing a crime or are presently awaiting trial. Could you tell us a little bit about the educational programs that exist?
Yes. The Alternative Superintendent's Office is responsible for the education for all juveniles and young adults who have been involved in the family or criminal court system.
How are these programs different than the traditional educational placements?
There are many similarities to traditional placements. 5.5-hour school day, same school calendar, computer-assisted instruction, ESL services, special ed services. Schools, there's a wide range of schools. Some have very extensive programs. Some are restructuring their programs to better meet the needs of the students. So there is a wide range of programs. And there are many similarities with programs on the outside.
When we see programs in the mainstream, we see clubs, we see sports activities, things along that nature which are avocational. Mm-hmm. How does that fit into your scheme of things? Again,
it varies much in the different programs. For example, some of our more successful programs on Rikers Island have many extracurricular activities. We have law-related education and mock trials and a basketball team and a band and activities such as that. But there are many challenges and many differences with our schools, obviously. The biggest one is that there is a wide range of students. Again, we have everybody from non-readers and very limited English proficient students to students that are on grade level, who want a high school diploma, who want the GED, who want to go to college, and we have everything in between. So, first of all, we have a wide range of academic skill level. Another challenge that we have in these schools is the short period of time that the students are with us. Mm-hmm. Again, in juvenile justice, it averages about a month. On Rikers Island, it's 57 days. There's not much you can do in those very short periods of time, except to try to get students reconnected with education, get excited about learning, and then when they get discharged, to try to connect them with positive programs on the outside. We want this to be a positive educational experience in the limited time they're with us. So you have a wide range of academic level, you have a short period of time, and you have a bunch of other characteristics that other schools may not have. For example, obviously you have 100% of the kids have been arrested. So you have all kinds of social skills problems and social problems go along with that. So on one side of the scale, you have all these challenges, short period of time to meet the needs. What we're trying to do is balance the scale with some exciting programs and give more resources to the program so things get a little bit more level playing field for these students.
So one of the major challenges is really meeting the transitional needs of the students.
Yes. And again, we're dealing mostly with older students. The average age on Rikers Island of our students is close to 18. In juvenile justice is 15. So in addition to these academic skills, we're looking at independent living skills and life skills and pre-vocational skills also. So there's a lot of needs to be met in a short period of time.
For some of these students that are attending your programs, they are getting a little further along in the program, and for others it's really just the beginning of their training to meet the needs in society.
Right, and one of the big things, Ellis, is that there's a real high rate of literacy. 25% of our students read below the 5th grade level. Mm-hmm. So we have to focus more on the teaching of reading, and that's one of the things we've been doing for the last several years. Literacy is not a new problem in correctional education. It's been around forever. I think as long as correctional education has been there, literacy has been the #1 need. And we're trying to really focus on that need now, trying to take these 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks that the student is in detention and focus on the ability to read. We feel that those students are the most vulnerable. The guys that are on the upper level, that are college bound, and that's probably less than 20% or GED bound, they have a better shot at reconnecting upon discharge because of their skill level. But we look at the low-level readers, and there's so many of them, a high percentage in the lower quartile, they have little shot of being successful on the outside unless they prove their skills. So one of the focuses on all our programs is on skill development, taking the student from wherever he is or she is to as far along the continuum as possible before they get discharged.
In your experience as a teacher, as a principal, and also as a college instructor, what do you feel, from your perspective, has led to the lag in literacy and skills development for the juvenile population?
Yeah, I think, again, it comes down to several different factors. It's not an easy issue to address. Janet Reno has a good quote. She said that we should do more to prevent kids from getting in trouble with the law. But once they get in trouble, we shouldn't abandon them. And I think what happens is there are a lot of at-risk programs, a lot of programs for remediation. But for some reason, when kids get in trouble with the law, a lot of those programming stop, a lot of those special initiatives stop. And for many years, I feel these programs were neglected. I think it's even worse than abandoning. You know, abandonment means to totally forego all responsibility. And we didn't do that as a system. We still had these programs, but we didn't have an emphasis on quality. There was an emphasis on access. We have to have these programs, it's mandated, et cetera, but we never focused in on quality. So the last 2 years especially, we've been looking at the quality of instruction, looking at different techniques, way to connect with students that were not successful on the outside. To think that if you're going to imprison a youngster and you're going to continue with chalk and talk and the same boring curriculum and the same unmotivating techniques, that there's going to be any success in 6 weeks, 10 weeks, or 2 months, I don't think is the right idea. So we're trying to do some more exciting things in the field of correctional education.
So the major transition in correctional education has really gone from meeting the word or the words of the law to the spirit of the law, and trying to make the youthful offender a more productive member of society rather than just meeting the mandates of state laws and federal laws.
Exactly. We're trying to go way beyond the mandate issue and the access issue, and that's why we're looking at things like technology. That's one of the cornerstones of correctional education. No school would benefit more from the integration of technology than our schools, because of this wide range of level. And we talk about individualized instruction. Well, one of the ways to accomplish that is through especially computer-assisted instruction. So we're looking at some of these things. We're involved in a couple of exciting initiatives using technology to improve instruction and delivery of services in the prisons and detention facilities.
Are you meeting any roadblocks in trying to achieve these objectives?
Yeah, I think we're faced with daily challenges. Again, we basically are collaborating, especially in a prison setting, with people whose education is not their mission. But we are collaborating with folks that kind of are on the opposite end of the scale. Really, when you put somebody in detention or incarceration, their stress is on conformity and suppression and keeping everybody in line. Education is just the opposite. We're trying to draw out responses, elicit responses from the students, trying to get them to communicate more creatively and in different ways, and be more expressive and more of an individual. So we're kind of at odds with each other in these settings, and these are the challenges our teachers face every day. I think the teachers who work with us are very special, and the counselors, the support service people that work with us are very special. I think you really need to be balanced to work in a place like Rikers Island or in juvenile detention. I think if you have personal problems or you get up on the wrong side of the bed a lot, it's not a good place to go to work. You have to be extremely balanced, and we're looking for people who can connect with the youth. We look for a lot of special ed licensed teachers, but we also look for a lot of content area folks to try to get a good mix of staff. So I really have to say very positive things about people who elect to work in these settings. We get a lot of new people, it's a foot in the door, but we do have a lot of people who stay and believe in the mission of correctional ed, and which is trying to get youth redirected. All right, something went wrong, you screwed up, it's a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call not only to the student and to his family. It's a wake-up call to the system. We should say, this kid's been arrested, he's 16, he's 15, we have to do a lot more than we did in the past. You know, if you look at some of the numbers of violent felons and career criminals, almost all of them started as juveniles. So if you take that knowledge, and we have a program for juveniles, doesn't it make sense to have an influx of resources into this population so they don't become career criminals and don't continue on the path that they've encountered at the present time?